I'm going to give you a little tour of a filter station here. This is a site where we're using SDI-E, so subsurface drip irrigation with effluent. So you can see in the background here we've got a lagoon and we're pulling from a nearby dairy. And so basically this farmer works with that local dairy on sourcing manure. We put an underground pipeline in to keep this lagoon full during the season. That way we can take all the nutrients and biologicals that come with dairy effluent and we can apply it to the corn crop in this case. So what you see out here is we've got a floating RiverScreen pump out there on the lagoon, and we're bringing effluent into the drip filter station here. So right over here we've got a flow meter that lets us know exactly how many gallons per minute we're bringing in, and then this is our EC setup. So this is where we monitor the concentration of manure coming in, and this is a variable valve, so that way we can adjust that all season long based on the crop, based on the growth stage of the crop. That way we take no chance of injuring the crop. We can also put the nutrients on in a very responsible way so we can maximize soil health. We don't want to overload at any given time with too much effluent. Typically you're going to have a very high salt load, high bicarbonates, which are all detrimental to soil biological activity, and obviously just detrimental to overall soil health when you put on too many of one nutrient at one point. So in this case, again, we can monitor it. We can basically spoon feed the crop and the soil low doses of effluent all season long. As we make our way over here, so we've got a VFD that the RiverScreen runs off of, so that way as we open and close this EC controller, the pump will speed up and slow down based on whatever demand that the system has. So we've got a VFD there, and now we've got a VFD right here. This VFD is for that booster pump that you see up on the edge over there. What that booster pump does is it takes the water supply that we're bringing in here, and basically it's going to help accelerate it and push it out into the drip system. So it's going to push that water through the filter station and then push it out to the drip system. So we've got a 400-acre system here right now, and you can see we've got a filter station back over this way. And so eventually we've got this plumbed up right now for an additional phase. That's why you see some kind of dead end fittings right here. And you can see the sand media tanks that we've got here, which are truly just world-class sand media filters. And you can see we've got this whole thing plugged in. So water comes in out of that booster pump and goes right down the top of the filter station there and into that T-junction. Into that T-junction right over there. And then it comes down through these filters where we've got sand media working to basically take any particulates out of that water. So you've got a clean effluent, you've got a clean water that's being delivered out into the drip field. Now as it goes into that drip field, right, we've got this drip field designed to have 92% uniformity at a minimum in each and every zone. So this field currently stands at 23 zones with about 17 acres roughly in each zone. Each zone is getting about 200 to 240 gallons per minute of the effluent and water combination as we're pumping. And we can right now run about half the zones at one time throughout the day because we have all of the water, all of the well water, and all of the manure concentrated on the drip right now. Now the great thing is, with this filter station, is it provides so much just ease of mind for the grower. Because it's removing all those particulates, we don't have to really worry on a day-to-day basis about plugging of emitters like you do when you use other technology with manure, right? As we think about overhead applications and you go and turn a manure source on, the first thing we always do is we go and unplug nozzles, right? With this advanced filtration system, we don't have to worry about that. We monitor the filters all season long. They have an automatic back flush cycle, so if too much sediment and particles get in there, it automatically back flushes. And then we're also monitoring the pressures and flows on each zone, so that way we can see if there was any plugging that started to begin. We've got some workarounds, basically through acidization treatments and through flushing both, that we can clean those emitters out and make sure that we're still maintaining that design and engineered uniformity. That way we can get water and all the nutrients delivered in a very uniform, timely, consistent manner. So this field right now, very hot out. The corn's been under a lot of stress because as you can tell, it's windy here. It's over 100 degrees right now. And you think about how much is my corn stressing? The great news is with the way this system's designed, every acre of corn is getting water and nutrients every single day. So we are just spoon feeding at about 12 inches right below the soil surface, water and nutrients. So that way this corn can stay more offensive than defensive. You know, corn's gonna go defensive when it doesn't have adequate water. That's a defense mechanism that it does. That's why you see that silvering, you see those leaves start to curl. Here you don't see that in this field because the corn has plenty of nutrients, has plenty of goodies in the pantry still to say, hey, I can continue to produce. I can continue to stay offensive here, even despite the weather conditions. And because we can get around to it every single day, the corn just keeps on rocking and rolling. The end result, of course, is higher yields. And the great thing is we achieve those higher yields with significantly less water. So in this particular system here, a lot of people in this area are going to use somewhere between about 18 to 25 inches of water on a center pivot. So that'd be 18 to 25 acre inches of water. So every acre we get that much water. On this drip system, which we're going to be shutting off next week so that this corn can be chopped for corn silage, we're going to use a total of about 11 and a half inches of fresh water and about 1.5 inches of effluent for the whole growing season. So you do the math on that, we're somewhere between like 35 to 55% reduction in water, which is just truly amazing. Not only that, this field used to be a pivot, and when it was pivot irrigated, it was 250 acres. We expanded that fence line to fence line, and we're now at 400 acres, using the same water supply that we were using to water 250 acres in the past. So overall, this just highlights so many of the tremendous advantages and features of using SDI and using SDI-E. And even if you're using SDI and you don't have access to effluent, we've got a tremendous amount of fertilizers that are going through our systems all across the regions that we service. And this is just another way to increase and improve efficiency at the farm level, is by putting those fertilizers, all those nutrients right in at the root zone. We're able to significantly improve our nitrogen use efficiency by doing that, as well as other fertilizer efficiencies as well. We're all about trying to help farmers out. We're trying to help everybody increase their profitability, and I can't think of a better way to do that on your farm than using subsurface drip irrigation.